So I can't even comprehend why a person would have a moral, a moral problem with this.
Recently, there's been some controversy on the internet where, shocking, I know, a YouTuber named Jesse Ridgway and his wife aborted their unborn child because they had Down syndrome. Now, while there are a lot of problems with this reveal, ranging from why they broadcast it on the internet in the first place, why are they seemingly doing this for clicks, did this even happen, is this even real, it seems like they're potentially even monetizing their grief and then acting like they're victims after they got the completely obvious response that they're going to get. Besides all that, Asmongold gives what he calls a utilitarian or pragmatic argument as to why it was right for them to do so.
I am very much just a total I don't have any, I have no emotion in this decision. I don't even think about this. To me, it's such an obvious decision. Yeah, obviously you'd do that, of course. So I can't even comprehend why a person would have a moral, a moral problem with this.
And this is actually something that's kind of near and dear to my heart as a father and a Christian. So I wanted to give a kind of off-the-cuff response, not that he'll ever see it, to what Asmongold says here.
I understand that this is the part where a lot of the, more moral people in my audience diverge. I'm really not. I'm not. I am very much a utilitarian. I'm very pragmatic. And whenever I see people that have Down syndrome or there's something about them, this is a person that will be a constant drain on society. They will only be a drain on society. And fundamentally, it's a tragedy. It's horrible. But sometimes making that decision is a mercy.
There's two reasons why Asmongold is actually quite wrong about this. I understand his utilitarian take on it, his pragmatic take on it, but it's not actually better for society. You might say it's better for him if he doesn't have to deal with it, but it's not better for society. I'm explaining why from both a moral standpoint and actually why from a utilitarian standpoint why it's actually bad. From a moral standpoint, once society begins to decide what human life from birth should and shouldn't live simply because they're inconvenient, then that changes something about us. That puts us in place of God for our own inconvenience, for our own career, for our future, because I don't want to deal with that. I'm just going to get rid of someone. That is removing the inherent value or inherent worth of a person and subjugating it to my own desires. And I don't think people like this should have children. Honestly, I don't think they should have children at all. I'm a big promoter of people getting married and having children, but people who believe that the lives of their children should be lower than the things we just want to do and want to feel comfortable with, then I don't think they should have children at all. I don't think they deserve children, frankly. That's not something I want to be propagated more into the world. We need more humanity in the world, not less humanity in the world. Now, the second argument I want to make on this is actually from the standpoint of utilitarianism or pragmatism. It's actually not as pragmatic as you think to just get rid of the problem, to just get rid of a child who has Down syndrome. Because again, similarly to the moral arguments, there are going to be downstream effects from a society that acts in this way. It's not just, oh, I woke up this morning and I picked my nose. There certainly won't be any consequences to this. No, there are consequences to people who act a certain way and order themselves in a certain way in society. Let me explain, again, by abstracting somewhat to the past. Long ago, certain civilizations used to offer their children to Molech, a false god. And their children wouldn't just be newborns. They'll be perhaps 1 or 2 years old. And I'm sorry if I'm slightly graphic here, but they would pray for rain. They would pray for good crops. They would pray to their gods for other enemies not to invade them, for them to avoid famines, and for seasons to be well and prosperous. But of course, these false gods naturally demanded a sacrifice in exchange for those prayers, in exchange for the blessings that they would quote-unquote give. And that sacrifice was children. Parents would willingly offer their children onto a white-hot altar and leave them there to die. And as they screamed on that altar, there would be a choir in the background praying supplications and playing music to the false god. Now, the purpose of that music wasn't just to appease their god. It wasn't just to continue the ritual. It was to drown out the screams of the children as they died. Now you might think, what kind of person would willfully place their child on a white-hot altar to scream to death? And to that I would answer, the same kind of people we have in society right now. Nothing has really changed in thousands of years. We've just substituted praying for good rains to having a good career. We've substituted not having enemy forces invade us for consumerism, being able to buy all kinds of things we want, being able to prosper in whatever way we desire. We've essentially changed avoiding famines to convenience. We place our children on the altar of convenience, quite literally. And a people that is willing, once again, to place the life of a child below convenience is a society that cannot long function. From a utilitarian standpoint, this isn't actually best for human flourishing. In fact, if I were to look up utilitarianism, definition is a consequentialist ethical theory stating that the morally right action is the one that maximizes overall happiness, well-being, or utility for the greatest number of sentient beings. You might say, in the short term, the barbarism of tossing your child onto a white-hot altar is a good thing because we won't have famine, which now we know, of course, that those things aren't linked at all. But that's the problem. A society that is willing to do those things, a society that is willing to sacrifice its future for its present, is not actually going to have the best happiness, is actually not going to maximize well-being, and it is not going to have the greatest utility for the greatest number of sentient beings. What it's going to become is a people obsessed with consumerism. And once you have a people obsessed with consumerism and self and no longer storing for the future, then one day something will come along. Either a tyrant, a natural disaster will come along and wipe out that society. That's not utilitarian. That's selfishness. Yes, I mean a moral judgment right there. It's selfish. And selfishness is not utilitarianism. Now, there are times when you can make utilitarian or pragmatic choices, but those utilitarian or pragmatic choices have to be subject to a moral argument. Later, Asmongold actually came out and himself said that he originally defended them, but then checked the guy's channel and realized that it seemed like he's just farming content.
What do you mean they're farming it? I mean, this seems like, I'm gonna be honest, this seems like kind of a weird channel. This is a really kind of weird channel. Like, look at some of these videos, right? I mean, like, we just needed to get away. Like, stuck in a blizzard, will the Psycho series ever return? Will McJuggernuggets turn into a psycho dad? The most heartbreaking gift I've ever received? This is like depression porn or something like that. Like, what kind of a YouTube channel is this? I originally defended you, but after looking at your channel, it is the most demonic amalgamation. Kind of close though, right? I mean, like, for me, that's pretty good.
I'm not necessarily for dogpiling Asmongold. I think he has had a interesting life and an interesting childhood that led him to come to this conclusion. But there are definitely times where he's wrong, and this is one of them. Now, if you like this kind of content, I don't normally do immediate reactions or off the cuff. Normally the things I do have a lot more editing, a lot more scripting, because I really want to get as many points across as I can in a coherent manner. I'm sorry if this wasn't coherent enough. Let me know in the comments if what I said was just completely outrageous or ridiculous. And I normally talk about cultural content like this for many topics, ranging from viral things going on social media to comparisons of Free Reign and Lord of the Rings. If it's a cultural issue, I've probably slightly touched on it at this point. But if you're new here, thank you for stopping by, and, well, I'll see you again next time. Bye!